Well, here we are. Another wonderful day, and it's, of course, Maple Leaf Talk. And all part of Maple Leaf Talk is all the Canadian teams and teams that American teams with Canadian players on them. We can talk about anything to do with Canadian. But right now, we really have a battle for ourselves here tonight. Tonight, we have the first Canadian teams playing in the National Hockey League. The season starts. And the news we had before the last show was that Connor McDavid signed a 2-year, $12.5 million contract. And we have the Blue Jays, who I guess don't have much time to lick their wounds from last night because they're at it again. And Aaron, of course, has everything you want to know about Maple Leaf Talk. And he wants to start. We're going to give him the pleasure of starting where he wants. He wants to talk about the Raptors.
You know, the basketball team that was named after a gimmick movie in the 1990s. Sure, why not? A fantastic movie. I was actually just really excited because Brandon Ingram finally made his debut for the Raptors. So that was a really good thing. It's his first time on the court in a Raptors jersey. It was also his first NBA game action since December 12th, 2024. It was when he sustained a high ankle sprain that ended up keeping him out for the rest of the season. He had 19 points in 22 minutes. He was 6 for 12 from the floor and 6 for 7 from the foul line. It looked like he was right back into it. And based on the replays that I saw, it didn't look like he skipped a day at all. It didn't look like he hadn't played in 303 days. It's one of those things where I think he's going to be able to become a starter for them right off the hop. Now, they did lose the game 112 to 108, and that's fine. It is a preseason game, and they've got 7 of them. That 19 points in 22 minutes, though, in his limited usage is very heartening.
When you talk about how he's picked up right where he left off, an image and a sound came into my head. I was staring at Queen going, I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride. Because basically that's what it is, right? I mean, as an athlete who's been playing this game for his whole life, probably picked up the ball at 5 and started there, So, this is something second nature to him. So one shouldn't be surprised about that. The biggest challenge for a player in his position is being winded. It's the physical aspect that they're not. You can't reproduce game action. That's something that only game action will give you a sense of what you're up against, or a more specific sense. All right, so let's talk about the Blue Jays, and here come the judge.
Yeah, it was one of those one swing changes the momentum of the game sort of moments. Unfortunately, when he popped that one shot that he had. It unfortunately did change the entire complexion of the game. Not disappointed by this, I'll be honest. I didn't expect the Jays to win. It was one of those things where you knew. I mean, after they'd outscored the Yankees 23-8 or whatever it was in the first 2 games, you knew this game wasn't going to be easy. You know that Yankee Stadium is a completely different animal when it comes to this sort of thing.
Animal, yes. Bronx Zoo as well.
Oh, 100%. It's absolutely insane. Unfortunately, I didn't happen to see the field invaders, but apparently there were 2 on the same play.
They weren't naked. They weren't naked.
Oh, good.
There wasn't any of that. They were just. I found it. I went on Instagram, and of course, the internet has everything. Well, actually, I'm not telling the truth because I only saw one of them. The second one could have been.
There's a second guy that almost made it to home plate, and he was wearing shorts.
Yes, and he was trying to take his shirt off.
Yeah, but he got tackled halfway between third and home plate. So.
Yeah, like between shortstop and the pitcher, around there is where he got nabbed. That excitement, yay. Well, really, what this comes down to, and what that game came down to, is the Jays the Jays could have won that game except for one thing. Wait a second. Oh, sorry. Just kind of, I kind of screwed up my microphone there. That's not good. That looks very unprofessional. It's like dropping a baseball when you're being paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, that was the issue for the Jays. They really did beat themselves, and that's something that will hurt a lot. But it also is a target for them to play clean baseball, something their team is known for. They're known for being a fine defensive team. And of course, what they've done in this series has been totally offensive. Well, actually, yesterday was more offensive than the first two games. I mean, kind of, sort of.
Depending on your point of view, but yes, I take your point. No, and I know that tonight's game is going to be a bullpen game as well. So the Jays used Bieber for the first 2.5 innings. Then they switched to Fluharty, who lasted one batter. Verland, who lasted
too early. Do you think they took Bieber out too early?
I think that, I know he's just coming back off Tommy John, and I know there's that desire to sort of keep his elbow relatively fresh. He may come in relief today if needed, but honestly, I was thinking they should have tried to let him pitch his way out of it. I mean, they had at that particular point in the game when he came out, they were up, 2-1. They'd had a relatively successful third inning. They got another 4 runs there. At that point, they were up. I think they were up. They were up 4-1. 6-1 at that point. I personally would have let him throw his way through it, but obviously Schneider felt differently.
I think they pulled the ripcord too early.
I think they may have.
And the reason I say that is because of the plan they put in place. The plan they put in place required him to pitch longer because they only had 3 starters. So in taking him out early, they put themselves in a position where the gauntlet of relief became quite spent last night. So, in my opinion, that game should never have led to threatening today's game, is what I'm looking at. And that's the way I see it. The way they treated the game yesterday threatened not only yesterday's game, but this game as well. Yesterday's game was not as important as today's. So I would have kept Bieber in for that reason alone, to protect game 4. But, it is what it is. Decisions are made. You got to live by them. And as we said, the biggest problem with the Jays last night was their defense. It wasn't, they had plenty of offense. 6 runs is plenty, to win a game. In fact, that was the first game the Jays lost, having scored 6 runs or more.
Yep.
So they've proven to be able to do that. So really it was their defense. I don't think the pitchers would have looked as bad if they'd made those defensive plays. I think that contributed to the massive amount of pitchers needed. I think it went through 6 or 7. They went
7
through
pitchers total. Yeah.
7, right? So that's what happens there. Let's talk now about tennis and Canada's contribution to the tennis world, and Mboko and Fernandez.
They've unfortunately been having a bit of a rough go. Victoria lost to Russia's Ekaterina Alexandrova on Monday, 6-3, 6-2. Alexandrova was the 8th seed in Wuhan. She broke Victoria 4 times on 8 chances and won 56% of total points. Wrapped up the match in 1 hour and 20 minutes. Mboko, who is currently ranked 24 in the world, has now lost 3 straight matches after winning her first career WTA title at the National Bank Open in Montreal. Her season record has now fallen to 53-12. Fernandez had 4 aces, 3 double faults, 32 unforced errors, and won 65% of her points on first serve. But she didn't have that much success either. She was playing Naomi Osaka. She took the first set 6-4, but lost the remaining 2 sets 5-7, 3-6. Now that one took a little bit longer. It took 2 hours and 28 minutes, so it was a bit more of a battle. Osaka now advances to the round of 32 in the WTA 1000 tournament in Wuhan to face the match winner between Lindsay Noskova of Czechia and Yulia Putintseva of Russia. So we'll keep track of this and see how the men do. I didn't have any news about them for today. So
let's talk CFL. The Elks sign Rankin. Good idea. Great running back for them.
Yeah, he in a difficult season, I think he's been one of their brighter lights. You know, when you're 6-9, it's always difficult to try to evaluate talent, but he did seem to rise to the top. He's going to be signed with them through the 2027 season. They announced yesterday. So you know, he actually became just the second Edmonton player earlier this year to record over 200 yards rushing in a single game when he got 204 on just 16 carries in the Labor Day game against the Calgary Stampeders. That's the one that they won 31-19.
The Owls released Cameron Dukes, former Argo, and signed E.J. Perry.
Yeah, so he signed with the Owls in August after attending training camp with the Argonauts. You know, it's one of those things where you have to sort of evaluate where you're at in your progress and whether or not you're going to tear it down and rebuild or try to continue with what you've got. I guess they just didn't feel that Dukes was the right man for the job, so they brought in E.J. Perry. Yeah, it's a swap of an American for an American, but we'll see if this changes the complexion of the team.
That's a good question. The Riders sign American defensive back Nafis Lyon.
Now, he's joining the Roughies with 4 years of CFL experience. He spent time with the Elks before being traded to the Montreal Alouettes in August of his sophomore campaign. He spent the next 2.5 seasons from 22 to 24 in Montreal, registering 115 total career tackles, 1 sack, 5 INTs, and a forced fumble over 30 games played. Coming from the UNC Charlotte, and suiting up for 40 games with them, you know, he's got a decent amount of experience behind him, and at 28 years old, I think he's still got a few years left in the tank. So that'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Let's go over to the National Hockey League, and of course, tonight is a big night for the Leafs. But first, let's talk about the Canadiens and how they kick off the season against you know who.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Last season, as a lot of Leaf fans will remember, the Habs won the opening night matchup against the Leafs thanks to a 1-0 shutout win. Sam Montembeault was pretty awesome in that game. He actually made 48 saves in what turned out to be Montreal's sole win over Toronto last season. Over the course of the 4 games that they played, the Leafs outscored the Habs 12-6. Now, Martin St. Louis has already confirmed, to nobody's surprise, that Samuel Montembeault will be the starter. The Bécancourt native has played 10 games against the Leafs in his career, and he's 3-6-0 with a 3.89 goals against and an 8.92 save percentage. Meanwhile, Jacob Dobish, who was the Habs' other alternative in goal, hasn't done nearly as well. Now, Berube has not confirmed who's going to be manning the Leafs cage. Joseph Woll is obviously still away from the team, but Stolarz is the clear choice. In his 6 games that he's played against Montreal, he's 4-2-0 with a 232 goals against and a 918 save percentage. The other potential might have been Caden Primo, who the Leafs picked up on waivers, who also used to be a former Montreal goalie. So that might have been a little bit of fun, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, the most you'll see from him is sitting on the bench, and I think he'll start down. Well, anyway. Travis Green says the Senators are headed in the right direction. We've thought that for years, Aaron.
We've been saying that the Ottawa Sens are trending in the right direction. Now, the Sens won 3-1 in Montreal on Saturday in their final preseason game, which was a nice bounce back for them after being outscored 12-1 combined in their previous 2 games. But at the same time, praising that 3-1 effort, Green was quick to downplay the combined 12-1 loss score in their losses, saying, you know, he wasn't really all that concerned about it. The health of Tyler Clevin and Drake Batherson are both a bit of a concern. They've both been placed on IR to start the season, but they're not far off. The one surprise is the addition of NHL heavyweight Curtis McDermott, acquired from the New Jersey Devils on Friday, 3 days after the Sens lost a rough, feisty game 5-0 in Montreal. Now, I don't think that they acquired him because of that game, but at the same time, I think they might have acquired him because of that game.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the Jets and Taves.
So we've been trying to keep track of what's going on with Jonathan Taves, especially because he was due to make his NHL return. The Jets open the season on Thursday, so not yesterday, not tonight, but tomorrow, and they believe that Taves can be on the ice. He was put on IR with an undisclosed injury and a retroactive placement date, so he could be activated whenever the Jets choose to do so. He's 37 years old now. I mean, he's already won 3 cups with the Blackhawks after being the 3rd overall pick in the 2006 draft out of North Dakota. He's already had a 19-year career. I think they're counting on him as a top 6 forward at this point. So his health is going to be paramount to the Jets' success, but at the same time, they're not going to try to rush him back.
$12 million a year for Kyle Connor.
Yeah, that's a Mitch Marner-sized deal right there. Kyle Connor is actually going to be staying in Winnipeg with the Jets. He's a first-team NHL All-Star left winger. He's got an 8-year, $96 million contract. He's going to count as $12 million against the salary cap when the deal kicks in 2026, and that's going to run through 2034. So they've locked up a cornerstone until he's at least 37. He's going to be turning 29 in December. So we'll have to see how good the tail end of that year looks. But for now, they've managed to secure a large part of their future at a reasonable price based on where the salary cap is projected to be going.
Flames need a quick start.
Yeah, they definitely do. It's a make or break start to the season. If you look at their first 10 games, they had a great start to the season last year and came out flying, and they want to try to continue to build on that. They've got a lot of back-to-backs coming up in the next couple of weeks, but they're going to focus on today against the Oilers. First of all, focus on getting their 2 points there and then work towards the next game. They're starting Wednesday against the Oilers and then Thursday against the Canucks in Vancouver, so it's a back-to-back with travel. Saturday, they're going to be playing the St. Louis Blues at the Saddle Dome. And after that, they've got another back-to-back next Tuesday and Wednesday, starting with the Vegas Golden Knights at home, followed by a game in Salt Lake City just over 24 hours later against the Utah Mammoth. So it's a very, very busy schedule, and banking points is going to be super important for them this early in the year.
How did Brayton Coots make the Canucks, Aaron?
Well, it's one of those situations where he was out with injury, but he had a very strong camp. So he's worked a lot over the summer on his mindset, is what he said, and had a really strong showing during his in-game performances. So Patrick Allvin said, you know what, at this point here, he's put in the work, and we think we owe it to him to give him a chance. But they've also got to be a little careful here and keep evaluating as they keep going. He got a lot better, Adam Foote said, about what he saw from Coots during the preseason. There's less confusion there, and he keeps the pace up. He doesn't slow down if he does get confused. I've
talked about for a very long time, Aaron, as you know, my concern with the Leafs and the draft picks they don't have means that they don't have new blood coming at a rate that they need it to come to support the players that are on the team right now. The Leafs made 2 very important picks off the waiver wire.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those things where they were looking to get a little bit more depth, specifically in picking up Sammy Blais and Caden Primo. Now, Blais is going to be slotting in for Easton Cowan. Primo is going to be slotting in for Dennis Hildeby and also, by extension, James Reimer. Neither likely will be in tonight's season opener against the Habs at Scotiabank, but it's one of those things where I think they realized with Lawton's shot block foot injury, the temptation is there to put in Easton Cowan, but at the same time, by putting him up with the big boys so early, you're going to be stunting his potential development by letting him get ice time with the Marlies. And same goes for Hildeby. While he did play well in the last games that he played with the Leafs last season, you want to go with a known quantity. And Primo, who was backing up in Carolina, would fit that nicely.
Let's talk about this opener that the Leafs have. What do you want to hear, Aaron?
I want to hear Austin Matthews is healthy. Those are just the 4 words that I want to hear most coming into this. It's those are the words that I think his teammates want to hear, and it's the names that the words that the fans need to hear. I know that Berube was commenting on the fact that he looks really good right now. He looked really good right from the beginning of camp. As a matter of fact, it seems like he's got another gear. This is his 9th season in the NHL, and he's got 401 goals, which is just 19 shy of tying Matt Sundin for the franchise record. In 37 career games against the Habs, Matthews has 28 goals. I think the betting now is how long will it take him to pass Matt Sundin for the franchise record in goals? And I don't think it's going to be all that long. It'll probably be before the first quarter of the season is done.
Well, the 2 things in closing that I want to mention are, we'll see how Toronto does against Montreal. And the question I have is the physicality, the level of the physicality in this game. Montreal and Ottawa had some real knockdown, drag-out fights. We'll see what happens here. And to your point about Easton Cowan not being in the lineup, Scott Lawton has a very specific contribution to make to the Maple Leafs, and that kind of contribution requires a lot of experience, and Easton Cowan is just a little bit short on that. He's high on talent, not so high on experience, and penalty killing and those kinds of things, defensive schemes. They need somebody else in there with a little more experience. And of course,
no, I don't disagree.
And with the Jays, stop making mistakes. Just catch the ball. Imagine catching it.
Visualize it dropping into your gloves.
Yes, do that, please. Good luck, Blue Jays. Good luck, Leafs. And good luck, Canadian teams. May this be the beginning of a great hockey season for everybody to enjoy, all the cities across Canada. There's a good chance a lot of them are going to be very competitive. It's going to be an interesting season, to say the least. One that the Leafs will be struggling to make the playoffs if Ottawa and Montreal can continue trending in the direction they have been.
Yeah, definitely. The Leafs are definitely in tough this season. But I am looking forward to a group of grown men influencing my mental health for the next 8 months.
He's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanishi. You can follow me on Candid Frank Stanishi 1030 on YouTube. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.